Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. As promised, this is a review of my BMW R1250 GS Adventure TE 2021 to 2022 model. If it's something you're interested in, stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Roll that intro. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel again, and this is my bike, R1250 BMW. It's a GS Adventure in triple black. Now, why did I buy the factory lowered version, or the low suspension, whichever you want to call it? I've got a 28-inch inseam. I'm 5'8", 5'9" on a good day if I'm lifting up a little bit, and I physically could not get my feet down correctly or in any comfortable position on the standard height bike. This is 268 kilos wet, without luggage, without a pillion. You throw all that on, you're looking best part of 500 kilos all in, with a rider and a pillion and all the luggage. I have no doubt in my mind this bike would have gone over 17, 20 times by now if I'd have had the full version. I did set on the full version at the dealership. It was way too high. I would have had to have the lowered seat and left the bike on low suspension, and I would have still been on the balls of my feet, probably to the full stretch of my tiptoeingness. So with this, I'm quite comfortable on the bike on any setting. So I can have the seat on high, seat on low, suspension high, suspension low, leave it on auto. If I'm on a camera, I can still get my feet down. It's a big thing for me. I'll hop on and I'll show you exactly where my feet are with this bike as standard. With this, the heated seat, which is a little bit taller than the standard seat. This bike's sitting about 840 millimeter, so that's where I am. If you look, I'm virtually nearly flat-footed either side on this bike. Bear in mind, if you raise it, you can raise it up an inch, you can raise the seat an inch, so I'm probably at this sort of thing, but I'm here, so I can let the bike drop either side and I'm quite comfortable. Anything taller than that, if you've got a 28 to 29 inch inseam, go for the low suspension version. You're not going to be disappointed. It's still 9 inches ground clearance. I mean, unless you're designing to take this over some large rocks, you're going to have no problem at all. Right, I'm going to get off and I'm going to show you some of the features. Right guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this. I'm not going to go over the spec of this bike. I'll put up on screen what this T model comes with as standard, and a little while into this video I'll go over what I've done to it to make it more suitable for myself. But I will go over some of the features now. Right guys, I'm going to go over some of the switchgear. Standard BMW switchgear, or you'll find on most of their models. You've got your toggle wheel here, cruise control, various lights, suspension options, your menu buttons. This particular model, I've got the SOS button and various mode buttons, heated seats and your other modes. The bike comes with 7 modes. You've got road, rain, eco, dynamic pro and enduro pro. The pro modes are fully adjustable, so you can alter engine power, throttle response, wheelie control, stuff like that. So yeah, they're all there. Obviously I'm not going to go through all that, there's plenty of videos out there explaining all that. Right guys, this is your dash. I'm just going to go over some of the functions using these controls, which is your whiz wheel and your menu up and down. So if I hit menu down, you've got information, that's information about your bike. So you've got my vehicle, tells you various things, temperature, range, PSI of your tyres when you're moving, etc, etc. Go aloft, you've got onboard computer 1, onboard computer 2, basically they're your trip computers, and then you've got all your tyre pressure and sensor stuff there, and then there's your service interval and appointment and whatever is remaining at the end of that list there. So that's that one. You come back out of that, got navigation, speaks for itself, and the bike has got built-in navigation on the dashboard, but it's only turn by turn, hence I tend to use the sat nav. Media, you can go into your media from here. You can play your music, and then once it's playing, when you scroll back up, it gives you another menu so you can flick through what you're playing. Telephone, again, it's got all the functions in there, from your call list, your active call lift, call logs, all displays up on there when you're riding along, and it's literally a little switch, little flick of this, and it'll tell you what's what. And then settings, so you can go into settings, And you can muck around with so much stuff on this bike. Vehicle settings, so you've got your alarm settings, you can go into there. Tilt centre, arming tone, automatic arming, intermediate arming. You've got your RDC systems you can go into. Lights, you can turn auto daytime lights on or off. There's just so much you can go into this bike and fiddle around with. And then you can go into your driving modes. And the thing is with this, you've got 7 driving modes or riding modes. You can only have 4 displayed at any one time. So on there you can select which ones you want at a flick of a button. So yeah, they're straightforward. I'm just going to come over to come out of that menu and go over to the switch gear. It's my heated seats and heated grip. So you'd push that, it brings up this on your dash. You then use your whiz wheel to say, all right, I want the heated seat setting number 2. Click OK. Come back out of that. You want your heated seat on as well as your heated grip. Stick that on 2. Click OK. Come back out of that menu, and you can see at the bottom here that they're both on. Little tip, I only found out this the other day from watching a video or a channel I subscribe to. This is a multifunction button, so I've obviously switched it on and got them set. If I hold this button for a few seconds, it switches both of them off. I did not know that. I was going in and switching them off individually. That's great. And also, if you decide, well, it has dropped again, hold it again, long press, and hey presto, they're back on. So it will remember what you had it on and what you didn't have it on, other than going into the menu each time, going through it, switching them off individually, which is what I was doing. I found out you don't need to. It's not something a dealership tells you. So yeah, long press on this and it will switch them both off or both on for you. Hope that helped. Catch you in a sec. Right guys, back to the sort of dislikes and a little bit more about the bike. As standard, this bike's 100, let me just double check, yeah, it's 143 Newton meters of torque, which I think is about 105 foot-pound of torque. It's 136 horsepower with a standard can. I've got the Akrapovic on this. It's an expensive option. You get chrome headers and the Akrapovic, and that probably bumps it up closer to 140 brake and about 150 Newton meters of torque. Not really enough to make much of a difference, but that's what changing the can does. So right, I'm going to go over a few of the things that I've done. Obviously this comes with handguards as standard. I've put extended handguards on. I just find that they give me a lot more wind protection, especially when it's cold. Also, I've obviously got the bags on the front, but I've also got these guard protections. So if the bike does fall over, I'm not scratching my bars, I'm scrapping my protections, not scratching anything else. I'll take this off soon. You can see the Akrapovic, she's sitting here with the chrome headers going straight through. I've got a little reservoir guard. I've put on these frame guards, and I've also put in these bungs to cover up some of the holes that were laying around. I've taken off the BMW navigation system. The Nav 6 to me was just too unreliable. I've got a Touratech mount, and I've got the Zumo XT, and I've got that wired into the BMW navigation system on here, the little connector. The only thing I can't do is change the nav with the little whiz wheel, but I'm not really worried about that. I've also got these screen strengtheners, stops a lot of the wobble on the screen. The screen on these is very wobbly, and I've also put a little extender up on top here, so keeps that going. Around the front, I've got headlight guard. It's just a bit of perspex really, just covers the headlight. They're a lot of money to replace. I think they're in the region between 12 and 1400 quid to replace a headlight on these. As an adaptive headlight. Little GoPro mount I've put on the front here for different views from when I'm riding. I've put little guards on the LED fog lights or spotlights, whatever. I've put those on. Same sort of protection around this side, guys. What I have also put on is a little kickstand cover for the switch. Apparently if that gets damaged, the bike ain't starting, so for a few quid that's probably well worth doing. So that's a few little bits that I've done to the bike. I've put carry handles on some of the luggage. When you buy these bikes, I will put up a picture of the spec of what the TE comes with, and then what you can add on. I mean, from factory you pay more for the triple black, you then pay more if you want the low suspension version. Heated seats are an option. Love these heated seats, absolutely brilliant. I'll show you a little trick, a little function with them you might want to know. The tracker, again, that was another added expense, the alarm. And by the time you spec this thing up, I left BMW, and I'm in this bike probably somewhere between 23 and 24 grand now, with all the luggage. You're looking at anywhere between, I bought a rear box, I bought the BMW Luggage, that was 1600 quid. The first thing I've done was took the rear box off and stuck a givvy on. That was another 600 quid. So yeah, I'm a few quid into this bike. And one of the other things I forgot to mention, my dislike, was I haven't got massive hands, and I just find that this clutch lever, even though it's set on number 1, it's just a little bit too far out from me. I may change these levers in future just so they're a little bit further back. Another cool little feature, guys, that you get with these, obviously this bike's designed to go off-road. I've put risers on, and I've put 25 or 30 mil back as well to make it a little bit more comfortable for me. But what BMW have put on is this: flick it over, stick it down, it then raises your rear brake pedal up, so when you're standing it's easier to reach. Nice little thing for them to put on, nice little touch. Also, guys, I fitted radiator guards, don't come as standard. I also fitted fender extender, and round the back I fitted an extension on the rear hugger, which keeps all this suspension gear nice and clean. This bike come with these 20% off-road, 80% on-road. They're the Michelin Anarchies. Brilliant tyre, had no problem with them, can't fault them. Probably going to go with the Michelin PR6s for the next set, but yeah, brilliant tyre, can't fault them. Was going to go for another set of these, can't lie, just can't get them, just can't get hold of them. They're rarer than rocking horse doo-doo at the minute, so yeah, I'm having to go with the Road 6s for my next set. Just another little bit, guys, I did go for this. When I first got this bike, I found that the screen in the higher setting for me was just a little bit too low, so I bought a Pugue touring screen. So that's sat 10 centimeters more. For me, that was too high. I couldn't adjust the screen enough to get any wind blast onto my visor when it was raining. I was having all sorts of problems, so I reverted back to the standard screen and just fitted this little thing on the front that I can adjust up and down for a bit of extra wind protection, and it worked perfectly. So I'd try one of these first before you go out and spend a lot of money on a bigger screen, because I sold mine and lost money in doing so. Right, issue is, guys, without the boxes on. That's your Akrapovic, that's your titanium Akrapovic. Okay, I think it's much better looking exhaust than the standard. Sounds a lot better for sure, it pops and bangs really nice. I fitted a toolbox. The reason I fitted the toolbox is because there's no storage under these seats, no room. I've just got a puncture repair kit in there and a biscuit. So that's the a few other bits that been put on the bike. Right, guys, I'm going to go over a few things that I love about this bike, and a few things that I think BMW have got wrong and that I'm not too sure about or don't like. First is the use of the rear indicators. As you can see, the rear lights are actually the indicators. They do not use this. This is purely a brake light, which is great because when you brake, it really does pop. But my main gripe with all of this is this: indicator on and you're braking. Now, I'm not being funny, but in some light, in some different conditions, you're not going to see that indicator. It's not so bad when you're not braking, but when you're braking, I think the BMW got it wrong. Indicators should be indicators, not brake lights and running lights. Right, my second dislike is the first and second gear change using the quick shift. I find it extremely clunky. If you're giving it some beans and you're hitting close to full revs, it's not as bad, but for normal riding conditions, first to second is quite clunky. The rest of it, 2 to 6 on this bike, is beautiful, and 6 to 1 on the blip on the downshift, again, another stunning feature. And one of my other gripes with this bike is the 6,000 mile service intervals. BMW have built a bike with a 30 litre tank that you can get close to 400 miles sometimes on one tank, that's built to be an intercontinental tourer, to go over different terrains, go through different countries, until you hit 6,000 miles and you've got to find a dealership and get it serviced, otherwise your warranty is void. Come on BMW, seriously, 6,000 miles, it's nowhere near enough. I'm sure you can get a few more miles out of that before the service. And the only other gripe I've got with this bike is the switchgear at night. It's not backlit. I tend not to fiddle with it too much at night anyway, but it wouldn't cost a lot. This is a premium bike with a premium price tag. Like the switchgear BMW, come on, sort it out. There you go guys, this bike, adaptive headlights, so if you accelerate and the bike goes up, the lights go down, vice versa when you're braking. I've tried to beat it, I can't beat it. The lights on this bike are brilliant. Not had a problem with myself, not felt the need to put extra lights on it. I get on with these lights just fine. They're active cornering lights as well, so you throw it into a corner, they're going to follow you around the corner. Perfect. As you can see guys, with this bike, the front lights, front indicators, they're running lights. You're not going to see them very well because of the way digital stuff works, but they're running lights and indicators, so they're integrated. They're not so bad, they stand out okay. As I say, the rear ones I think need a bit of a redesign, but yeah, she configures quite nicely. Right guys, a little bit about the BMW Luggage. What I love about this luggage is it's hard luggage, it's going to take a knock. Brilliant. Clips on this, back and front, so you can open it up that way, or you can close that and you can open it up this way. Notice with this box, if you do get a bigger box, you just have to pull this slightly to one side to get it to go round. What you can do on these as well, which I think is a brilliant little feature, is you can take them off completely and the lid's completely out of your way. There is loads of room in here, loads of room. You can get extenders for these as well. These are way bigger than on my last bike, which was a Versys, and yeah, plenty of room. Around the other side, the passenger one, as I like to use it as you can see, a little bit smaller because of the accommodate for the exhaust, but nevertheless loads of room, plenty of room in there for a couple of pairs of shoes, so the missus is well happy. That's the luggage. Right, what's she like to ride? In all honesty, my riding history is 7 or 8 years long. I've had 3 bikes. I had well, 3 bikes since I've been riding bigger bikes. I've had ER6N Kawasaki, I had the 1000 Versys, another great bike, and now I own the GS. Always liked adventure style bikes, and this to me is the Rolls Royce of adventure bikes. It's not got the power of the Multistrada, it's not got the power of the KTM, but what it has got over both those bikes, I think, is low down weight. It's a bike I can get on, be comfortable when I'm flat footed on, and it's so well balanced, it's unreal. It wants to go into corners. If you're in the market for a BMW GS and you're 5'8" with me, like me, with a 28 or less inch, go for the factory load. You're not going to be disappointed. It's a massive bike. It's probably 2 inches or just under 2 inches lower than the standard bike, but still with 9 inches of ground clearance. The compromise is in the middle of the bike. It's not from the floor up. The compromise is in the chassis. Absolutely brilliant. From what I've read and what I've managed to find on the internet, people are saying that these are probably a little bit better to handle because the centre of gravity is slightly lower over the standard bike. But if you're in the market for one and you've been put off because of the size, don't be. Go for the factory lowered. You're not going to regret it. Right, so what's she been like to live with? Yeah, easy, fantastic. She's a beast. When she's loaded and you're trying to lift her up, she's heavy, but once she's up and she's upright and vertical, moving it around to dawdle, you can do it with one finger. I wouldn't advise it, but it feels like you can do it with one finger. It's very easy. Done one decent trip, 700 miles. We've done Wales. You can have a look at my previous videos. How did it do? Brilliant. 2 or 3 hours in the saddle. We had a little break, got back on, we were fine. Very, very comfortable bike. Wife loves the heated rear seat. These are comfort seats as well. As I say, they're probably sitting 20 or 30 mil taller than the standard seat. That again, I got the lowered version so I can have these. Wouldn't be without them. 2 up touring, full luggage. She returned nearly 49 miles to the gallon, and considering most of our riding was a decent pace or really slow and technical. I think it done really well. It didn't really touch any motorways or dual carriageways, so yeah, to live with. Brilliant. 30 litre tank. Nowadays it's costing nearly 50 quid to fill this up with premium. Prices are through the roof. But I wouldn't be without a big tank at the minute for some of the trips I've got planned, and I'm really looking forward to this when I get up into Scotland to see how she performs. But yeah, as an everyday do it all, do what you like bike, I don't think you'll do better. It's a bit like a Swiss Army knife, really. It's a jack of all trades, master of none. But if you're in the market for a big BMW GS, but you're just a little bit too short, factory lowered, you ain't going to regret it. That's all for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review that I've put together. I'm going to put up some pictures and specs of this bike, and I hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.